I'm here at St. Stephen's Catholic Church in Portland, Oregon, and today is the second day in our novena to St. Joseph, spouse of the Blessed Virgin Mary, in the year of our Lord 2024. Now we are continuing with Miracle on the Mountain, the story of Brother André and the shrine on Mount Royal. And we're going to skip ahead here to, let's see here. We're going to skip ahead here to part of chapter 3, the road to Notre Dame de Neige. And the question then, so this is a series of questions, an opportunity to tell his life story by the questions that would be asked in the investigation of one's life for the process of preparing a cause for canonization. So the question, when did the servant of God enter the religious life? Father Albert Cousineau, who was Superior General of Holy Cross and is now Bishop of Haïti, answered, Brother André made his novitiate at the Côte de Neige and later at Saint-Laurent when the novitiate was transferred there. He took the holy habit on December 27, 1870. Brother André's decision was not made hurriedly. For the better part of a year he meditated and prayed, making numerous visits to his friend and advisor in Saint-Césaire. He was strongly attracted to Holy Cross because of his personal devotion to Saint Joseph, to whom the order was dedicated. Indeed, at that time the brothers were still called the Josephites. In that same year, 1870, Pope Pius IX named Saint Joseph the protector of the universal church. It was not until October 1870 that Father Provençal sat down to write a letter of recommendation for his young friend Alfred Besset to Father Julien Gastineau, superior of the pupils and director of novices at the Hotel Bellevue. The letter is a matter of record. In it, he used a phrase which may have been more prophetic than he knew. The curé of Saint-Césaire wrote, "I send you a saint for your community." With this letter, which of course he had not read, clutched tightly in his hand, Alfred Besset started on the long trip to Montreal. In mid-November, he presented himself at the Hotel Bellevue. It was a rambling white wooden structure with 4 columns supporting a portico in front. The planking of the old building was so loosely joined that a contemporary description says, quote, "In times of storm, the inhabitants did not know where to take refuge from being inundated," unquote. As Brother André knocked at the front door that November, the snow was already deep around it. Father Gastineau received him warmly and put him to work at once. They were, as usual, short-handed. It was certainly no easy life, as the schedule of the community indicates. The pupils were awakened at 5:30 in the morning. The brothers had to be up at 5. Breakfast was at 6:30. From that time on, there was not a moment when everyone was not hard at work or at prayer until the final prayers, spiritual reading, and bed at 7:30. Then only could Alfred slip into the improvised chapel alone for his prayers and meditations. Naturally, being the newest hand, he got the dirtiest jobs. He spent most of the day on his knees, scrubbing and cleaning, for the ramshackle old building was a glorious dirt catcher. However, as Bergeron puts it, Alfred was not, as so many young men are, drawn back by the pleasures of the world. Rather, his heart was open to spiritual ideals. He was accustomed to the tenderness of Jesus toward those he loves, as well as to the trials, the whip, and the cross which they share with him. After several weeks of proving his willingness to withstand the exigencies of the religious life, and confirming his vocation by long hours of prayer, Alfred Besset was accepted as a novice. The simple ceremony in which the young postulant gives himself to God is always impressive. To Alfred Besset it was transcendently joyful. A supreme moment for him was when the presiding priest said, "Alfred Besset, from now on you will call yourself Brother André." He had chosen to bear that name in religion as a witness to his gratitude to the curé of Saint-Césaire, Father André Provençal. Now, we're going to skip ahead to chapter 5. entitled De Miraculi. And there's a picture for this chapter. What events first brought special fame of sanctity to the servant of God? Answer, from Father Cousineau. After his novitiate, when he was porter at the College of Notre Dame, Brother André made himself noticed by his devotion to Saint Joseph. One fact first attracted attention. Brother Alderic suffered from a running wound on his leg, and at the suggestion of Brother André, he made a novena in honor of Saint Joseph, and on the morning of the 19th of March, the feast of Saint Joseph, Brother Alderic was cured. A second case which shows the influence of Brother André. A pupil of the College of Notre Dame was taken with a malignant fever, according to the testimony of the college physician. Brother André saw the child and said to him, "You have no more fever. You can go out and play," which the child did. So in his careful, factual, colorless way, Father Cousineau described the first of those extraordinary happenings at Notre Dame, which many believed to be the earliest manifestations of Saint Joseph's love for Brother André, and which led to such great events. Long afterward, Brother André himself told the story of the sick child, and it was confirmed by many people who remembered it. One of the pupils had been in the infirmary for several days with a malignant fever. At recess time, Brother André went to see the lonely little boy. "What are you doing lying lazily here?" he asked. "I'm sick," the child answered. "Get up." "The doctor won't let me." "You're not sick. Go out and play." And feeling fine, the boy dressed and rushed gaily out to join his friends. And what a row that caused. Dr. Charette came storming at Brother André, accusing him of meddling in the management of the infirmary and of grave imprudence. "But the child is not sick," Brother André said. "Go and examine him." The doctor called the boy in, took his temperature, and made a thorough examination. He could find nothing wrong. Completely baffled, he examined the child at least 3 more times that day, and finally he attested to the permanence of the cure. Other remarkable things happened to which Father Cousineau could testify. Not that he was present at the time, but having lived in the community so long, he had been told these things by his older confreres, who he knew were truthful men. There was, for example, the time when an epidemic of smallpox broke out at the College of Saint Laurent. The White House, which was now the infirmary, was filled to overflowing with sick students and religious. Many of them died. Father Baudet, superior of the college, sent to Notre Dame for help to nurse the sick who were in quarantine. Brother André joyfully responded in spite of warnings that his weak constitution made him vulnerable to the disease. Now, the accounts of what happened differ slightly. According to one, as Brother André entered the chapel at Saint Laurent, he fell on his knees and prayed for the intercession of Saint Joseph to stop the plague. Brother Ossee's account states that Brother André organized a procession with the statue of Saint Joseph at its head, which visited all the rooms of the college. Most likely, he did both. But on one thing all the records agree. From the day Brother André came to the college, the epidemic diminished rapidly, and there were no more deaths. As to another of these first signs of divine favor, let Father Cousineau testify, remembering that he, like all the witnesses, is speaking under the obligation of that sacred oath. Quote, "Another extraordinary fact occurred in 1884, of which Brother Emery, who is still living, was a witness. A woman who was suffering from rheumatism was brought to see Brother André, who at that moment was occupied in brushing the floor. They told him of her trouble. Brother André contented himself by saying, 'Let her walk.' And when the woman and her companions insisted that Brother André pay more attention, he addressed her directly, at the same time continuing to work. 'You're not sick anymore. You can go home.' And that woman went home cured." In addition to these major events, other things happened which are difficult to explain. For example, it was the custom of the brothers to go to houses where a death had occurred to prepare the body for burial. Many of the poor people had no money to pay an undertaker, and some of the devout wanted none but sanctified hands to touch their dead. Brother André, like the other religious, often performed this unpleasant task, both as a charity and a form of penitence. According to the testimony of Monsieur Pichet, quote, "A man who lived in Côte de Neige died. This man had previously asked Brother André, whom he loved greatly, to take care of his body if he was the first to die. And after his death, which occurred in the morning, the man's wife sent her child to ask Brother André to come and prepare the body. Brother André sent word that he was very busy and would come that evening. The wife sent the child back with the message that by evening it would be too late because of rigor mortis. Brother André said to him, 'Reassure your mother, there will still be time this evening.' He went to the house about 5 o'clock. The wife had placed the body on a big white sheet. Brother André proceeded to make the toilette of the corpse, and when he took it in his arms, he saw the head change position. He straightened it and noticed that the body had just begun to stiffen, and Brother André added, 'I believe he waited for me to lay him out because I began his toilette. He was as though he had just that moment died.'" According to Pichet's testimony, Brother André usually had une nuit blanche, a sleepless night. After laying out a corpse. He heard strange sounds, and the objects on his table rattled around, and frequently he saw a large black cat, which seemed to be responsible for the disturbance. He had his own explanation of this phenomenon. When one of his confreres in whom he had confided about the cat asked, "What do you think it is?" Brother André answered cheerfully, "The devil does not like me to do these good things. He is trying to frighten me." Inevitably, word of these wonders at Notre Dame filtered through its walls to the world outside. The schoolboys who adored their barber talked about him and their families, and told how, if they felt sick or had a headache, a touch of his gentle little hands made it go away. And always when they thanked him, he said, "Don't thank me, it's St. Joseph you must thank. Go and say a prayer to him." Sick people began coming to Notre Dame to ring the bell and hope for a word or the touch of Brother André's hand, and quite often they went away healed. It was at this time that he began the practice to which he adhered throughout his life. He would give the sick person a medal of St. Joseph. Then he would take a little of the oil from the lamp which burned before St. Joseph's statue and rub the injured leg or the diseased chest with it, outside the person's clothing. Once, late in his life, a skeptical friend asked Brother André if he thought the medal and the oil had any magical therapeutic value. Brother André smiled at his simplicity. "The medal is only metal," he said, "and the oil is just olive oil. But it makes them think more about St. Joseph, and so strengthens their faith." Well, as the cures multiplied, so did the number of people coming to Notre Dame to see the little brother. In the midst of his many duties, he always found time to rub them with St. Joseph's oil and advise them to pray to the saint. Many were relieved of their sicknesses. Because of this, Brother André got into trouble again. Father Cousineau testified about it. The number of the unhappy ones increased so greatly that the parents of the pupils, the confreres, and the authorities of the college became upset. The parents feared contagion for their children. Among the confreres, some said that it, Brother André's work, was folly, pride, and illusion. Others declared that there was nothing wrong in letting the brother spread the devotion to St. Joseph, and it would be better to wait a while before forbidding him to receive the sick. The two schools of thought had some heated debates within the confines of the college, and according to Brother Osse's testimony, Brother Henri joined with Dr. Charette in twitting Brother André on the subject. Brother André suffered in silence and continued to rub the sick. In general, the doctors were disquieted. In a future that would have been utterly incredible to Brother André, the promoter general of the faith in Rome, suggested that this testimony was adverse to his fame for sanctity. He spoke of the authorities' fear of Brother André bringing discredit on the college and quoted the phrase, "folly, pride, and illusion." Well, these were indeed severe ordeals for the little brother, but neither the fame which began to come to him — people already spoke of the saint at Notre Dame — nor the ordeals caused by skeptical doctors, nervous confreres, and the complaints of parents changed Brother André's course at all. He believed that the marvelous cures came from God, and nothing made him so furious as to have them attributed to him. Azarias Cloud testified that Brother André said to him, quote, "How stupid people are to think that Brother André makes miracles. The good God makes the miracles, and St. Joseph obtains them. I am only the wire which transmits their blessings," unquote. And as to the sneering remarks some of his own confreres made about his methods, he regarded them simply as ordeals decreed by the will of God, and suffering silently went right on curing people. For the timid little brother was extremely stubborn when he felt that he was following the wishes of his patron saint. This determination of his was particularly directed toward one great project, which in those years of the 1880s seemed utterly impossible of accomplishment. In his rare moments of leisure, Brother André continued to stare out of his narrow window at the tangled, towering wilderness of Mount Royal. And as he looked, the idea that St. Joseph must someday have a shrine there became more than a belief, became an inspired conviction. In the testimony of the cause, there is an account of one of the brothers saying to the porter, quote, "This is a strange thing. I place the statue of St. Joseph in my cell facing my bed, and every time I come back, someone has turned it around so that it faces the mountain," unquote. Brother André laughed. "It is not strange at all," he said. "It simply means that St. Joseph wants to be honored on the mountain." With that inspired purpose in his soul, the timid little brother expected to accomplish the impossible. End of chapter 5. And now it is time to pray our Novena prayer. Please click on the link below this video and pray along. There's a link to print out the Novena prayers, and there is also a link to watch a video and pray the Novena prayers along with us here in the parish. Well, this story is getting very interesting, and all glory to God and to St. Joseph as given by God, and Brother André, St. André, as through the intercession of St. Joseph and the providence and goodness of God. So let us call upon St. Joseph, and we can also throw in a prayer to Brother André, to St. André, as well for our intentions for this novena. Let us call to mind our intentions for this novena. What are you praying for? Ask, and keep in mind that St. Joseph usually will give you something better than you ask for. And you have to be patient too. You might pray a few novenas, and you might have an immediate answer. Sometimes we have to keep praying before we get an obvious answer to our prayers. Sometimes the prayer is answered, and we don't know it has been answered yet. Nevertheless, don't stop praying. Keep praying and trust in St. Joseph. And don't miss a day of prayer with us. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.